Right, well, here we are. It's actually happened, guys. The final episode of season 1 of Craftcast, the Freemasons podcast. And I'm excited to say, or terrified, I can't decide which, this is going to be an unscripted episode. We're leaving the mic on for the next 30
Open
minutes.
mic
to see,
session, yeah.
Yeah, to see what happens.
Yeah.
So, no holds barred. For WWE fans, this is the equivalent of a hardcore match. People are going to get hit with chairs. Mainly us by Marta, I think. She's giving me a dirty look.
She's been doing that all season, to be fair.
She has. But no, I think in this episode, it's a nice idea for us to look back at what's been an eventful first year, good grief, first season for Craftcast, and reflect on the bits we enjoyed and what we hope is coming in the future.
And this is what really goes on behind the scenes. You all think we're so polished, and the amount of cutting we have to...
Who told you that,
You've
James?
not been reading the feedback.
Oh dear.
So, who wants to start?
They've been shielding you from the emails, James.
I only get the good stuff. I can't deal
Stephen
with it.
AJ Watley,
Ooh,
Junior. What's your highlight of the season so far?
I'm actually just... If you're going to call me Junior, then you got to just leave it as Stephen Watley, because my dad had different middle names, so... There you go.
Sorry, what?
Get it right.
I met your dad the other day.
You did.
Everyone, I met Stephen Watley Senior, Mr. Watley at Grand Lodge. He was a very lovely man. He's done a very good job bringing up his son, not to patronise him.
Oh,
but it was a pleasure to meet him, and we are hoping in season 2 of Craftcast to get Mr. and Mrs. Watley.
Oh, God.
Dishing the dirt.
3 Worshipful Brother Watleys in one room at one time.
Deary
It's
me.
like Batman.
Are you gonna wait till it's on video as well, so you can just get my reactions to it?
Oh, yeah.
We do it before then.
Red
please.
face.
Yeah, we're going to have to record that, I think.
Well, I think it's only fair because the the sort of kids' photos and the children's albums and stuff,
which are very similar to how this will look, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just looking like his Instagram now, but yeah, just basically like a
Really
family
shots
photo
fired
album,
today.
a family photo album from like at your 18th when you get embarrassed. You'll know this when you celebrate your 18th.
Listen, I'll come at you with the old jokes if you keep going.
Okay, no, but all seriousness, it was lovely to meet him anyway. Hopefully see him again soon.
Yes, well, I will, but yes, hopefully we'll bring him
I
on.
I hope so, yeah. Congratulations to him, by the way, because I think was he appointed as a grand ADC in the Mark?
Yes, he was
Wow.
during the week. Yeah,
Awesome.
His,
I didn't know.
First,
that.
quite rare for us in Gibraltar to get active grand rank, so it was very nice. I was very
Amazing,
proud of him. Well
So,
deserved. Very proud of
first,
him.
Stephen, highlight of the season.
Yes, I've got to say, brother Barry's memes that he keeps tweeting us, they're brilliant.
Barry Hayward, Essex. We love
Shouts out, Barry.
In particular, the knowledge dolphin one. That was great.
Remind us of the context of that. I'm struggling to remember.
I think it was to do with the very first episode when we were discussing what name to call it.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about someone mentioned, I think one of the suggestions was pods, as in like a pod of dolphins.
Right.
And I think, I can't, what did I say? It was something like a school of fish or something?
This is really bad now, isn't it? But I can't remember if it was in that episode or in one of the earlier episodes. We were talking about something.
That was the first episode.
Was it the first?
So,
No.
so it would be difficult to get
I know
earlier.
about the name. I'm talking, I think, in a later episode, we were talking about something. We were using an analogy, and you said, like a school of fish. and he and I looked at each other and went, what are you talking about?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that
He's
could
not,
be it, yeah.
Yeah, that's not the first time you've mentioned fish, which is weird for a Masonic podcast.
But yeah, so
that was a good
the
moment.
memes from Brother Barry, they're great.
Brother Barry, what a legend.
My favourite one, actually, was when we first launched Craftcast and it went out on social media, and you just had the picture of the Pope holding up a picture of our 3 faces.
Yeah. There has been
they've been great.
There's been some really funny, and I think we've been genuinely really, really pleased to see how the pod's been received generally by the Masonic and the non-Masonic. Thinking it again, aren't you? Like a school of fish. Podcast. We're just really we're obviously delighted with how it's gone down, and we are yet to make contact without talking about His Holiness. We have yet to make contact with our one listener in Vatican City. However,
get in touch.
Your Holiness, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on as a guest. What a catch that would be. Can you imagine? Talking of fish. What a catch that would be.
Interview of the century, that would be.
That would
terrible.
be front of FMT, Marta, do you reckon? Yeah, gotta be.
Yeah, I
James,
think so.
highlight of season 1.
So many highlights, but actually, the thing that I always chuckle about when I think back to it is the episode where the brother to my right, Mr. Watley, turned up as we were sort of recording the introduction music, and every time there's a theme running now that you're always late for everything to do with this podcast, and every time you go, it was a one-off event. I'd just like to point out, were you on time for this recording session today? At the agreed time we stated on our group chat.
No,
but there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen listening,
could you now explain why?
That's just an excuse, okay? You were doing university work. I will let you off. It's very important, of course. But the thing I've taken away from this season, between us three, is that you need a watch.
You need a watch. Yeah. Stephen, I've sort of grown to see you as a bit like the Elvis Presley of this episode.
This episode
of this series,
podcast?
of this podcast,
in what sense?
Well, people are expecting you at one time, you turn up 2 hours later, but they're really excited to see you. You turn up, you deliver.
I know it might be being too sensitive here, but with the always late thing, I do not necessarily want a reputation across UGLE for always being late.
But it's the truth.
Maybe
you can't handle the truth. But no, Stephen. Actually, to be fair, I think you are incredibly busy. You are a full-time student. Yeah, you're doing your masters, right?
No, just finishing my bachelor's.
Okay, so you're doing your undergraduate. You're going through a dissertation. You live in Stafford. Sure.
Right.
Sorry, it didn't sound right in my head. And then, sure. Okay.
Staffordshire. Your master of your mother lodge.
Master of your mother lodge in Gibraltar.
Indeed.
How many orders are you a member of?
26.
So Craft, obviously Chapter, Mark, Royal and Select, and Ram.
5.
So 5.
Yeah. So
Can't count. Yeah.
Yeah. Should have done maths.
Yeah, I should have. Or shouldn't. Since I can't do it.
But no, genuinely, I think. Thank you for giving the time for the first season to come along, and we know you're incredibly busy.
Well, I have very much loved it so far. Not least
Lots to come.
Not least because I enjoy. Excuse me, being soppy for a second, but I enjoy your company, and it is a highlight of my month when I come in and do my recording. But also because I think of the unique position that the three of us are in. That I get. I still don't think I'm at all used to it, of the kind of impact that the positive kind of impact that we can have. And I think the mental health episode is a really good example of that.
So this is your other highlight, right?
Yeah, I would say this is probably possibly even more of a highlight given the seriousness of it, of the amount of feedback that I personally, and I know each of us have personally received, and I think from that episode, not least because of as in we haven't received it through the podcast email. We've been individually. This has clearly touched people, very personally. It's they've been. This has hit home essentially, and so I think that. Having that impact is something. I think I've spoke about it in the episode. I don't say it very often. I don't say, I'm really proud of this. I'm really proud of this that I've done and that I've done. I would say I'm really proud of that we did that episode. Yeah. And I really hope that people continue to listen to it and it continues to resonate with people.
I've had quite a lot of people come up to me. You go to a meeting. Oh, how are you doing? You shake hands. Good to see you. I've had loads of people come up to me and go, but how are you really? Yeah. And they say it with a little bit of a smile on their face. But it means they've listened to the episode.
But there's a seriousness there.
But there's a seriousness there. It's had an impact. And, I think we knew that when we started doing this, that it would have some reach because of the power of the UGLE marketing team. But to actually have people that I've known for years in Freemasonry randomly coming up to me at the start of a meeting going, I've listened to it. How are you really? Yeah. Or to get a Facebook message or a text. I know you've had a text, a WhatsApp message. I've had a few come through. I know we've had emails.
I've had about 20 messages individually of people that have been brave enough to reach out and tell me their story and just say thank you because they felt it was an important episode. And I think having that, I said on there at the very end that all of this Craftcast would be worth it if just one person asks that question and gets an honest answer, and won't reveal any sort of personal details for that person, but received a message saying my superintendent listens to this apparently, because he asked me that question today
That's
out of
amazing.
nowhere,
Yeah.
and I told him my honest answer is what he said, and you know, so to have had to be able to impact an open dialogue in mental health in general, men's mental health in particular, for a men's organisation, I think is something, definitely sensational in my opinion.
No, absolutely. And I think one thing that we can absolutely promise is that this podcast will continue to be an advocate for men talking about mental health, sharing experiences, getting the help that they need. And, you know, if anyone is in need of that sort of support, I would really encourage you to listen to that episode, because there's actually a lot in there about how to seek that support out. So I'm delighted and touched that so many people, and I've had the same experience as you guys, people coming up to me and talking to me about it, delighted and touched that people felt really that they understood that episode and have experienced the same things. And
I'm not sure we knew exactly what we were aiming for, but I think we achieved it almost. So yeah, like you say, I hope that conversation is ongoing, and I definitely invite people to write in and share their experiences, and you know, potentially in future do something else similar.
And what other highlights do we have?
Well, James, over to you. Your highlight.
Yeah, I think another highlight for me was when we interviewed Jonathan Spence, the program master, because just to give people a sort of behind the scenes look into this, that was the first day we'd ever recorded anything other than the introduction episode where we named it.
Yes, yeah.
And we were all relatively new to
We're all still working out. I mean, we
working
still
it
are,
out,
but yeah, I mean,
to, you know, what we were going to say. I think it's safe to say, certainly from my point of view, I was incredibly nervous. How often do you get the opportunity as a random member that's not a Grand Officer to sit down for an hour opposite the program master and literally ask him anything you want to ask him, and he will answer it? So I was incredibly nervous, but that is a highlight of the season.
the room was locked, gun pointed to his head.
Literally. That was a highlight of the season for me, because it was a great opportunity to talk to him, but also from my personal Masonic journey, at the time of being Freemasonry, that's something that you can't put a price on, the opportunity to have that time.
It's an experience, but I think we'll all always remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm probably biased, but this is an incredibly exciting time to be a Freemason.
I mean, you are a little biased. You are a Freemason, and you are the communications
well, no, but
director.
I'm not biased, but genuinely, this organisation is really going
from
places.
just a very objective point of view.
Yeah, and
the amount that's changing, the amount of new
Yeah.
plans in place, the accessibility to get involved.
Yeah,
I'm 23.
yeah,
and you know, as you mentioned earlier in this episode, even the amount that I'm doing in my Freemasonry, and I think having that accessibility at my age is probably proof
Yes.
that I'm communications officer of Gibraltar. That's more or less unheard of at my age.
Yeah.
To be allowed to be that involved, to be and that is exciting in itself to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, I think looking forward to season 2, there's so much more that we can do, and hopefully we'll be able to get the program master back on.
Yeah.
If we're lucky enough, because as I said, it's such an exciting time. We've got a 7-year strategy in place now, and it's going to happen. Make no bones about it, because genuinely we've got leaders now within the organisation who have got a plan, and they are going to roll with it. And we absolutely, as members, have to be as supportive as we can, because they have the best interests of the organisation absolutely at heart.
Well, and I think just in general, it's an encouraging the whole idea of yes if, not no because.
Yeah.
And that ethos is really starting to spread, I think, in Freemasonry, and you can almost feel it when you go to meetings, when you go to, whether in or outside a lodge, when you go to meetings, when you present ideas, things like that.
And thinking about the strategy, the big part of that is this membership challenge. Is closing that gap between the people that join Freemasonry and the people that no longer are Freemasons, either through natural causes or resignations or whatever it may be. And I think that it's an exciting time because of the leadership in the craft, the leadership in the Royal Arch being the same, the message from Grand Lodge about us being one organisation, the social media work that's going on, this podcast, Solomon. There's so much going on to engage people. But what I would say to anybody listening is it starts with you. It starts with the lodge. So I know we're going to have, this is a light-hearted episode about the end of the season, but if you have not yet checked out the strategy and the membership challenge, please go and have a look at it.
And the members pathway.
And the members pathway, because it's really, really important. But let's go back to more highlights, Mr. Butler.
Generally, my favourite episodes have just been where we have had a chat.
Yeah.
And because I think
With no offence to everyone that's come in,
well,
it's been lovely speaking to everyone.
Absolutely. And I think, and I'm not just saying this, I've really enjoyed all the episodes, but I just feel like the ones where you're basically just having a conversation, they feel
it's very real,
natural, very real, like you could be sat in, around
it's
a
not an
table
interview,
at a pub. It's not an interview, it's a conversation.
Correct, yeah.
And I think we've all become closer as a consequence as well.
Yeah,
naturally.
absolutely. But I think if I had to choose my favourite episode, my highlight would probably be the Football Lodge episode.
Oh yeah,
that was good fun.
That was amazing.
Yeah, it's just because it was a little bit different, and actually, I think looking forward to season 2, that's absolutely something that we want to do more of. Looking at special interest lodges, because there are so many different sorts of lodges out there, all with different niches. I mean, football's sort of my thing. But a sort of shout out to people, if you're listening and you're a member of a special interest lodge and you think that would make a really interesting topic for a podcast, get in touch because we want to speak to you.
Definitely.
Yeah. This is the podcast for the members listening.
Yeah.
And so please do email us, podcast@ugla.org.uk. If you've got an idea of something that you want us to cover, whether it's a particular lodge, a special interest lodge, a subject, something that's going on in your province,
an event,
anything.
Yeah.
Get in
I
touch
think
with us.
you mentioned earlier, hopefully we'll try and get the program master back on. But just as importantly, we're very much looking forward in the next season to bring on other Masons, not from London, not from Grand Lodge, from provinces, districts, even all over the place.
Absolutely.
And so, if you feel you have a story to tell, then do please write in and let us know, because it would be, this is the Freemasons podcast, and so we want to reach everyone and be for everyone.
So it's probably a good opportunity to just say to you, before we get into some emails, just to say to listeners really our plan going forward. So we always sort of planned, didn't we, to do an initial sort of first season and then have a little rest. Yeah. And then start again, with the new Masonic season. That bit, Stephen, you're not going to rest. You haven't got the time. But generally, most of us will have a little rest. And then I think in terms of looking forward to season 2, as Stephen's just said, speaking to Freemasons, all different age groups, backgrounds, etc., that's really important. I've made the decision, we are going to do a Masonic mean tweets episode. We're going to do it.
Cool.
I've committed it. It's on recording. We are going to do it.
We discussed this at the very beginning when we first started.
It's going to be the shortest reign of communications director ever.
Well, it could be.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you,
we haven't congratulated you on your promotion.
Well done.
That was very kind. No, but in all seriousness, I think actually, if you haven't seen Jimmy Kimmel celebrities read mean tweets, go and have a look. It's very funny. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it for Freemasonry, because actually some of the stuff that's written about us is ridiculous but hilarious. So I think
and
it's
also
going to be fun.
On a more serious note, we've also got some interesting topics that we'll cover, like disabilities in Freemasonry, and challenges that individual members have faced of all kinds.
Yes.
And essentially our future as becoming an even more inclusive organisation than we already are.
And a little challenge to you listening out there. If you would like us to come and visit your lodge and record an episode of Craftcast in your Masonic Centre at your lodge meeting, before or after, get in touch with us, because we may be interested in getting around the country on a little tour.
Or James could just be messing with you, who knows?
I could be, but I'm not that.
But you're not, are you?
I'm not. No, we are seriously considering
Indeed.
next season taking a couple of episodes on the road. So if you would like us, the three of us, you may not want us there, but we come as a package. If you would like us there, get in touch with us.
Yeah, and again, I think just a useful opportunity to say that next season we will be doing a series of episodes called Archcast. Guess what that's about?
I wonder what that's about.
No, well, we will be talking extensively about the Royal Arch, and it hasn't escaped our attention that we haven't done an episode on it yet, but we want to make sure that it's right. There's a hell of a lot going on in the Royal Arch at the moment.
And there's so much changing at the moment.
So much
it feels
changing.
silly to do an episode.
Exactly.
When by the time it gets released, it'll be irrelevant or out of date at least.
Exactly. So we want everything to be in place and released, and then we can talk to you all about it in season 2.
So yes, if you'd like us to come along, then email podcasts@ugle.org.uk.
Emails.
And if you fancy, obviously, if you fancy Sean not coming along and just me and James, just let us know.
And the podcast ended.
For those listening, we do come as a package deal as well. We might even bring
a meal
we
deal.
don't take
Like a
special
meal deal,
requests.
yeah.
Yeah.
£3
sandwich, crisps, and a drink.
Who's the sandwich? I don't know. Who's the crisps? Who's the drink?
This is getting weird.
It's getting weird. Anyway, so
Now you're discovering this.
let's go to emails. Who wants to go first?
I will go first, and I actually have one that's directed towards you, Brother Watley.
Let's go.
Hey guys, firstly can I say please say what an amazing initiative this podcast is. About time you joined the 21st century. Thank you, Brother Richard Mattioni. Also, you're all great hosts and real advocates of Freemasonry. Well done. I'm in a couple of lodges, and special interest lodges are definitely something I'd like to get involved with. Sorry chaps, but more of a question for Stephen, obviously. I know you're a keen fencer, and for the last 2 years I've been heavily involved in historical European martial arts, in brackets, historical fencing. Do you know of any special interest fencing / historical European martial arts lodges? And if not, then maybe something to consider. Sincerely and fraternally yours, Worshipful Brother Ricky Mattioni, Arranwell Lodge number 7174 and Didcot Lodge number 9995. Stephen.
Glad you pronounced that one right.
Thank you. I was practicing.
Yes, well, I'm very certain. I'll say fairly just in case I'm wrong, but I would like to say very certain that there is currently no special interest fencing lodge. But I have been, in fact, looking into it.
Are you planning to change that?
Yeah. When I have slightly less to do, yes.
No, you're not busy.
But yes, in general, it's definitely something that I am very interested in. That and chess as well. So if anyone is interested, slight plug for my own personal interest in Freemasonry there. If anyone is interested in a fencing or chess one, you can go through the usual channels, which Sean will tell you about in a minute. But also, if you want to message or email podcasts, the podcast email, they can forward that on to me or message me on Twitter or something like that.
Can I just double check? There isn't already a chess lodge, no?
There is not already a chess lodge.
Can I just checkmate?
Oh, look at that.
Boom. Sorry, I know there isn't one. But you should set one up.
Okay, I've got an email here from Nigel Bailey. Well, first of all, Nigel starts with "Hi both," so I'm not sure.
One of us is left out.
One of us is out of here.
Okay.
I love the podcast. I have been a Freemason since 2002. My mother lodge is Northfield Lodge 5056 in the province of Worcestershire, which incidentally is a lodge I have visited previously.
Oh, okay.
I have now moved to Gloucestershire and have joined the Earl Bathurst Lodge 6313. At my mother lodge, I worked my way to senior warden. I have not been through the chair yet, but would like to at some point. The problem is, after a serious motorcycle accident, I had a front lobal brain injury and have issues with remembering the work. I do all the things people have suggested to learn, but none of it works. I've even worked with a demonstration team with Mitch B. Shout out to Mitch.
Hi, Mitch.
Hoping this would help, but it didn't, and I still had to read from paper during the demonstration. I would feel a bit of a fake if I had to read from the book while being in the chair. This is holding me back, and the lodge has explained I would not need to do all of the work, and the past masters would step in and help. This is very nice, but I'm not sure it would help. Have you any suggestions on what I could do to work my way forward in Freemasonry? Now, I'm going to bring Stephen on this in just a moment, but what I would say is everybody gets something different from Freemasonry, and we all give something different to Freemasonry.
Yep.
Some are very gifted at ritual. Some are incredible charity stewards, or incredible almoners, or great stewards, or they do administration work for their lodge, secretary or the treasurer, or for their province. Everybody can give something different. We don't all have to be incredible ritualists. That is a part of Freemasonry, but it is not everything. And what your past masters have said to you is absolutely right. They will support you, and it's about giving you the opportunity, after such a long time in Freemasonry, to serve in the chair in whatever way you feel capable of doing that. So do not feel a fake because you cannot memorize the emulation book or whatever ritual book you use. It's
there is so much more to being a master of a lodge, as I have discovered, than learning the ritual and presenting it. So much more. And being elected as master of your lodge is not because you're an expert ritualist. It's because you are the right person for the job to carry the lodge forward for that year.
Yeah.
Thank you for passing that over. Obviously, I have my personal history with head injury and brain injury, and my own memory issues as well. Personally, one thing, I don't know the details, Nigel, I don't know the details of your medical case, obviously, so I don't know what exactly your capacity is in terms of what you can remember and what you've tried. One thing that I did that helped me, which you may have already tried, but worth mentioning anyway, is in general with all of my recovery, if I could go back and do it again, I would recommend you keep a check of how you are doing. So I would recommend, and this really for anyone with any sort of injury, I think as well, is something that I discovered helped, is keeping a chart of trying to incrementally improve your whatever you are trying to improve. So start with the smallest piece you can, even a couple of lines, and see if you can remember it, and then take a tick to that, and then try another couple of lines and take a tick to that when you can do it. But at some point, there may be a limit to that. There might be, as I said, I don't know exactly in this case, but there might be a limit where you just can't get past 8 lines or 2 lines even. And I think, unfortunately, such is life. And I say this, it's much easier to say than to do. You just have to accept that at some point, unfortunately. And I mentioned it in the mental health episode, and so I'll mention it again because it might be helpful to you, Brother Bailey. My Jib talk that I gave that's on YouTube on essentially accepting that, unfortunately, we progress through our lives and every day we're a different person. And we can't return to being the person we were yesterday. Yeah. And so, as much as that's a very serious topic, I think don't be so hard on yourself. I would say personally, my personal advice: don't be so hard on yourself that you might struggle with certain things, because I'm sure you excel where others don't as well.
Yeah. Very wise words, Stephen.
And good luck with it. We're all thinking of you.
Indeed.
Thanks, Stephen.
And our final email of the season.
It's this from Brother Leon Teal. Hello there. I hope this message finds you well. My name is Leon, and I'm writing to you as a recent initiate into the fraternity. As of May 2023, I was raised to the degree of an entered apprentice in the Anstall Lodge 3607. Before I continue, I just want to take a moment to commend you on the fantastic work you're all doing with the podcast. Thank you very much. It's been an integral part of my journey to Freemasonry. That's really wonderful to hear. The depth and diversity of the topics you cover have not only enriched my understanding of the craft, but indeed it played a crucial role in solidifying my decision to join. Wow, that's
amazing.
What I call a success. Well done, guys, and thank you very much for letting us know, Leon. I feel a great sense of camaraderie and fellowship listening to the podcast, even before I officially became a brother. In the outside world, in my job, I get to travel all over the world, and with this unique opportunity at my disposal, I'm particularly excited about exploring Freemasonry in different regions. I'm looking forward to visiting numerous lodges across the country, and perhaps even internationally, gaining insights into the various practices, traditions, and styles of Freemasonry, for better or for worse. There is a lot out there, after all.
There is a lot.
There is.
Once again, thank you for the podcast. It's been truly a beacon of light for my journey so far. I look forward to continuing to listen and learn from your discussions. Who knows, perhaps one day my travels and experiences might make for an interesting topic on your show. Yeah, most certainly. We're saying exactly that. Yeah.
And I think, brethren,
is that a wrap on season 1, gents?
I think it might be a wrap on season 1.
Wow.
Let's not.
Who'd have thunk it, eh?
Drinks in the bar now? Celebratory? That's a wrap party?
We got to go.
No, lodge meeting.
We've got to go to the lodge meeting.
We've got a lodge meeting now.
We have stuff to do,
we do.
James.
Yes, Mr.
You guys actually do.
I actually do have rituals to do tonight.
Yep.
No, but guys, it's been an incredible first season, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this. And to the listeners, I hope you've got something from it. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back for season 2 in the not too distant future.
Yep. And we're not going away completely, are we, James? We're going to have a couple of sort of special edition teaser episodes for you throughout the summer.
Just drop them in.
Just little droplets of Craftcast, so you're not completely cold turkey from us. Yeah. But we will be back good and proper very, very soon. Yeah. And I guess my parting message is thank you to you guys. Thank you, Marta, for what has been so far a very exciting and enjoyable journey that I wouldn't have had it any other way. So thank you so far, and I very much look forward to what the future holds.
We will see you all very soon.
See you soon, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Craftcast, the Freemasons podcast. The podcast is hosted by Sean Butler, Stephen Watley, and James Dalton. The producer is Marta Zandri, and the podcast is edited by Trisonic.